Okay, here we go. Someone, this is from Lovely Girl May, who says, someone wanting to be non-binary or different doesn't actually harm anybody, including themselves. Absolutely incorrect. Unbelievably incorrect. I'll get to that in a second, but let's continue. The thing you say are issues seem more like personal preferences than issues. It's interesting how these are the same people who are lost their minds over the Leah Thomas situation because they believe gender matters. But when it comes to people who are non-binary, it's now no one cares about your gender. Now, okay, there is no such thing as non-binary. And I mean that from the kindness of my heart. There is no such thing as non-binary. If you believe you are non-binary, you are being played by self-serving politicians and activists. Those aren't doctors. There are a few terms that I want you to think about if you think that you are legitimately non-binary and you're pointing to an expert who has done a research study on this, claiming that there is a thing as non-binary. Propaganda is one of the terms, and gullible is another term. All right. The purpose of non-binary, there's a few purposes for it. The first one is to create a lot of a confusion among society, which is happening right now. The other one is to create an infinite supply of Democratic voters, because who is the person that is positioning themselves as the champion for gay rights or LGBT rights? What political aisle is getting up on their pedestal and saying, we're going to take care of you non-binary people, gender identity matters? It's a Democratic Party. So in order for them to secure the next few generations of people that are going to vote for them, they need to create a situation where they will have a constant supply of voters. Before, it was the black vote. They would say, oh, black people, there's systemic racism, there's institutional racism, but thankfully BLM screwed everything up a few years ago, and a lot of black people are waking up. Back to this comment right here, where Lovely Girl May says that being non-binary doesn't harm anyone, including themselves. At the core reason for saying that you're non-binary, the core thing is that you don't accept yourself. That's the underlining thing. That's what you're saying. I don't accept the way that I was born. I don't like how I am. And I want other people to see me as I see myself. So now, not only are you not accepting yourself, now you're saying, I want everyone else to validate my false identity. I think I'm this, and I want everyone else to think I'm this too. So now you're adding another layer of trauma, because now people like me aren't going to play ball with this idea. So now you're going to be pointing fingers and saying, you're transphobic, you're homophobic, you're this, you're that, you're every ism. And it's creating more tension between the acceptance of, I don't want to say LGBT acceptance, because it's very unfortunate that everything's being fused together. But I want to say, like, you are hurting the acceptance of people that are internally struggling with their own identity. Because after being called an ism and all this stuff for so long, you're going to start to look at that person in a different light, which is unfortunately what's happening. But yeah, this hurts that person because they're not learning how to accept themselves. And then on top of that, if I were to say to a non-binary person, if I were to say, you're not non-binary, you're actually a guy, or you're actually a girl, they'll look at that as me being hateful. But on the contrary, I'm actually trying to help them, because that interaction is a preview of what the rest of their life is going to be. The rest of their life is going to be trying to convince other people that what they see in front of them is actually not what their eyes is telling them. And that is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. You're setting people up for failure by doing that.